allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Superintendent's update. Preliminary budget presentation.
Right into it, Mrs. President?
Yes.
Okay, well, okay, so to our members of the board, and I see that we have all our members of our admin team and Mrs. S. you're back, which I'm happy to hear. What we discussed to the folks online, what we had discussed months ago in the interview process is now coming to light. It's a plan. This is a preliminary budget hearing. It's not a vote on it. It's just a plan within the context of our budget and where we need to go. Facilities, programs, it's an outlay. It will be posted and advertised tomorrow. I do hope that we have folks online and we'll go through it slide by slide. If you have questions, please feel free. And our admins are here also to address any questions you may have specific to their offices as it reflects in the presentation. So, you want to get to it? And I don't know if maybe some of you want to come over here so you can see it a little bit clearer. No, no. Not at all. Backside is
There's a question. Sure, of course, yeah. Just, camera, I'm sure, so please.
So we're ready? There we go. No? Yeah, it keeps checking off. It might be the, yeah, that's going on over there.
Couple of hours ago. In the office.
We're good? Yeah, thanks. Okay, so we're back and welcome to the 23-24 preliminary budget presentation. And this is a effort amongst all of the admin here in Kinnelon. So this is a double-edged sword where it's our preliminary budget, but it also leads into the adoption of the budget, which is 7 weeks from now, 8 weeks from now, 25th of April. So this is a lead into that. It's an overview of what we've discussed and what has come to light as far as capital projects, programs. It's a 3-year outlook. So again, if we move quick, or if you have questions, feel free. That counts. Do we have anybody in cyberspace?
We have 18 people watching.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Welcome, everybody. What you see here is our financial position. So right now, the 2% tax levy, and you see that number there is 782,000. We don't have any enrollment exception. We have no expiring bank cap. When we come down, our district funds currently is surplus cap reserve. We have a little more than $3 million, which is a good place to be. In our discussions yesterday with the admin, we were trying to determine where we would like to be. So what I'm going to recommend to the board is that as the process continues to unfold for next year, that we earmark $2 million of the 3 for projects. In our maintenance reserve line, we're $456,000. In our current general fund, we're $1.8 million. Mrs. Keene estimates that we'll utilize $927,000 of that to stop gap and utilize in assets of our budget going forward, which still gives us a pretty solid balance. So from this standpoint, we're strong. Now, when you come over onto this side, the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement between the KEA and the KAA for next year, it's a 3.1, and this is the total dollar amount. Health benefits, they're increasing everywhere. We project here. So the net impact in our job at central office and district-wide is to find this balance by April 25th. And what does that balance actually, what makes up that balance of the $1 million? We're not getting into that tonight. We're going to get into that and present that on April 25th. We had our state aid numbers, 3.2 million, and we did receive, and I'll thank Trenton, for 316,000 extra. Of that, Chapter 44 increased at 203. That leaves us a net balance of 112, which we're going to put to the side. So the numbers themselves are pretty self-explanatory on both sides. And that's what leads us in. Yes.
So our increase revenue, which is our 2%, is at 72. And the million with the combined increase in salaries and health benefits. Is that, I mean, I know we negotiated 3.1. The health benefits, what would you say is the average increase? Is it 10%? That seems high.
No,
That's
that's-
going up.
Yeah, everything's going
So
up.
10, we started actually with the broker at 17%. And through some negotiations and discussion, we got them down to 10.07%. So, it's all based on experience ratings.
Last year,
We had some,
That changes from year to year.
Yeah, it's
we got hit pretty bad
Some
last year.
years are gonna be higher.
last year we were like 7.
I forgot, that's, you know about this.
So as you can tell, from those, just those 2 numbers, we're already in the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And what adds to this number, and you'll hear me say it more and more in the next couple of weeks, is that last year we utilized fund balance to stopgap the hole,
Yes. I know.
which is good in an emergency, but that just can't be
Yeah,
our
no, I
standard
know.
practice. So that's where it moves.
So
But
we
does
got
any-
additional 316, but then our chapter 24 increased, so. our
44,
actual-
yeah. 44 went up, and then we have this, so we just keep that to the side.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody else have any? We're good, we're following on this, so, okay.
Just going to the remaining, this is the general fund, so we've used, so, well, I don't understand that, so we've
We're
used,
starting this year on 1.8 million.
right,
For the 23-24 budget, next year's budget, because we used 927 in this year's budget. So in order to go forward at like a net 0 increase, we have to use 927,000 again next year
okay, gotcha.
to equal it out, unless somebody has a way to come up with 927,000 elsewhere. I'm open to suggestions.
Okay, gotcha.
That would not, that and this together would be, no. So, okay, so next slide, budget impacts with the debt service. Oh, sorry. Here at 1.5. Now we do have for one more year, the ARP, the old ESSER. We have approximately $283,000. That's a one-time infusion. So the admin team has agreed to utilize that for one time in next year's budget as far as staffing and programs. So we will utilize the majority of that money, if not all of it. So facility, let's get to the meat of things. What you see is each school broken down. What I did was highlight areas that should be prioritized. So after tonight, for those folks in cyberspace and everybody that's here, what the board will do is we'll break down in committees and we will determine what are our priorities. If the board chooses to utilize the $2 million, or if it's 1.5, or even if it's 1, where do we need to be? How do we handle it? How do we provide it equally across district? So what we have here in Kinnelon High School, we'll start with the HVAC repairs and upgrades. We've all agreed that we need to upgrade our auditorium in the high school. Track resurfacing quote. Now, resurfacing of the track is much cheaper than ripping out a whole new one. So I asked Mr. Doty to go down the road of both. Then we have new gym air conditioning, repaving the back route, and just paint. So that's the high school. Some pretty big ones with the auditorium, but that could be a year over year. That doesn't have to be a complete renovation to the tune of $1.5 million if we were estimating that. We could do year over year, we could do it in small steps. When we move over to the middle school, again, we have HVAC repairs, we have paint. The middle school student council had brought up some ideas as far as continuing to cultivate, and it's a great culture in the middle school, in school community. And they have a back substitute classroom off, or substitute lounge, or whatever it was called, off the cafeteria. So we had thought maybe that could be a space repurposed for students during lunch, lessen any potential issues or crises that arise, let them have some time after their lunch, as long as they're meeting the code of conduct, to go into the room, maybe we redecorate, repurpose, put in some technology, let them have some relaxed time before going to the next class. So a little student center. But the big one is the media center renovation. Because anybody who's been in our media center in the middle school understands that it needs a severe makeover. Severe. In Stony Brook, we have some roof replacement and patching, which is a priority. And then we're looking at ceiling tile paint, media center upgrades, like small ones, not big ones, they're small. But the priority, there is a main priority. The telling theme is that each building has a main priority that we have to figure out which way we're going to handle it. And in Kiel, obviously, it's the roof replacement repairs. You got ventilation, signage, multi-purpose room upgrades. Again, that's just small. We asked Mrs. Alawale to look at her multi-purpose room and how could we make that a little bit more accommodating and welcoming to our community, to our students, to our staff and parents. And then part of that also is the Cisco building, second floor, and then paint. And again, this entire presentation will be on the website tomorrow. Does anybody have any questions for anything that's up?
So the media center for PRM, is that something we can do? I thought there was a delay. Is there an issue with that?
Well, our current architect said a year and a half.
Okay.
I've lived it a few different times. We're going through an interview process. I think this would be a great question for incoming architects. What do you think the time and the layout? Because Mr. Mongan, who was here tonight, had shared when we were speaking that if we were able to get it started, really, essentially, it's just a gut job. We're going down, and then it's putting everything else in place. So if you have to wait a little bit, and I just lived this in the district that I left, for furniture, you can still utilize the space so long as the floor is in and the ceiling's up and you have the lighting and you have the technology plugged in. So I think that's a good question on the 20th. Because to wait a year and a half really puts us back in the hole. All right, so now we look at 24-25. And again, it's the 4 boxes. And we're looking at the high, we'll start with the high school, auditorium upgrades continued. And now we're back to the track fence replacement, concrete walkway. Along the walkway currently, I don't know how wide is it, Mr. Suda and Mr. Doherty? People bang into each other. The fence needs to be improved. The track itself needs to be improved. So again, that's a decision of the board. Do you want to go resurface or do we want to totally go new? But if we go new, that's where the fence comes in. The walkway, I would recommend go around, especially after we hosted the Super Bowl in November. And for the visiting team, they're walking on grass. So I think we should accommodate and put a walkway, concrete walkway there. And then, of course, the new gym again with the air conditioning, some bathroom renovations because they're original, and then field house development plan. So whether it's our current architect or a new architect or another architect the board chooses to hire for special, I think it's time we have to start talking about the high school and developing an outlay for field house because we don't have one. And, again, earlier today, Senator Bucco was here and Assemblywoman Dunn, and they honored our state champs in track, and we have great programs here. So we need a field house to accommodate our athletics in the high school that can also be utilized by our rec. So move over to the middle. We're talking paint, we're talking clock PA, bathrooms, and the media center we just kept on there just in case. That's just a just in case. Stony Brook, it's the continued roof replacement, but the big issue here, or not issue, the big ticket is the playground. And that kind of funnels over into Kiel, where if we have to continue multi-purpose room upgrades, maybe we don't. But the playground. And the playground would be pre-K inclusive. And then the Cisco building, anything we need there. And I'll get more into the Cisco building as we go on. Any questions? Anything? Mrs. S in the back, no questions?
Now we're good.
Okay. All right. So 25-26, we continue on, and our goal would be to have a fieldhouse blueprint projection for the high school, complete repaving in the back, an athletic Hall of Fame wing, which we don't have. We don't have any space, and I did go through the high school with Mr. Doty and look trying to find space. The outlay of our high school to the folks in cyberspace is just a little bit difficult to kind of venture through. So I don't know if we repurpose some space, but we have some history here. I know our high school's young, but we win. We're competitive. And I think that should be reflective, whether it be to our community when they enter our sports area of the high school or incoming communities, to see where we've achieved and know where they are when they enter our land. Now that's just me, but we have to start with this and this. And then of course the uniform replacement rotation, and we still have this here just in case we can't decide which way we want to go originally. We move over to the middle, the HVAC, that's an ongoing thing. Paint, the PA, smart boards, uniforms. Because again, we offer middle school sports. And our middle school students should also have new uniforms every couple of years. And now down here, doesn't need a full roof, all-purpose room makeover, and then the Cisco building, right? They play off each other, the two elementaries. But now we get into program needs. So that's facilities. Does anybody want me to walk it back? Okay. So program needs at the high school. I want to expand the allied health, the uniform rotation, our weight room, kiln, and yes, we're putting in the bowling team. We're infusing the bowling team. At the middle, it's IXL expansion. We'd like, due to our pilot program in the middle school for after school, we'd like site managers built in for those home events, athletic uniform rotation continued, and an interactive lesson delivery system for instructional tech. And Mrs. Trombetta is working on that, like kind of parallel with Mr. Giannicelli as far as the nuts and bolts, and then how does that relate into instruction for our teachers and our students. That kind of funnels, that's K-8 into Stony Brook and also into Kiel. Now here in Kiel, the big one, which we've been talking about for a while, is full day kindergarten. and repurposing pre-K and speech to the Cisco building. So in the facilities, what you saw first was me talking about and presenting Cisco. Well, now this is why it comes to light, because should the board vote in favor of full-day kindergarten as part of the 23-24 budget, then our current pre-K classrooms, 2 of them in speech, will move and be relocated to Cisco. So there, we would need to make small moves. Full-day kindergarten is the big one. And it may not seem as big to some folks that have been here for a while, but it is big in the sense that now it's full day. That changes the after-school program and those responsibilities during the course of the day. It's moving the kindergarten classrooms and relocating them from Stony Brook to Kiel, so all of our students and all of our teachers in the grade level are together. We may have to reutilize some of our staff and floating between Kiel and Stony Brook, but that's part of the job and position. But nonetheless, this is the budget impact, $356,000. And that's for our current 6 kindergarten teachers and 1 phys ed teacher who are 3/4 to come full-time with health benefits. That's what we're looking at. It's my job to find that counterbalance in the budget proposal, which I am working on. Then in the Cisco building, we need associated upgrades. Related services would be there, pre-K, AM, PM, part-time custodian possibly. And now next year, this is when we look to really expand our early elementary program here in district, both gen ed and special ed. So the district currently supports 2 full-time pre-K staff members with TAs, yet the program is 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, does not generate revenue, does not offer full day, none of it. What I will propose next year, as we build our district goals and board goals, is to have a goal based on full day pre-K inclusive, where we would go out, we would engage the community, we'd create our own brochures, we'd approve our own program for full day. What is that cost analysis? And our pre-K students, should we be lucky in 24-25 to do that, to implement that program, expand the program year over year, generate tuition back to the district as revenue. But our pre-K students, although housed in Cisco, will be part of the school community of Kiel School. So they will receive phys ed, they will receive technology media center, they will receive art, they will receive music, they will be completely infused. It's a complete infusion. And then special services as far as OT, PT, and speech would remain on that top floor. Anybody have any questions on full day and the plan thereafter? Okay. Security is big, and this is a priority. It cannot wait. This isn't one of those things that we should wait. So we're looking at illicit laws compliance, interior updates, hardening. Now we're going to look at schematics of each of our buildings, and I don't want to say too much because we can't share all of our security initiatives, especially from the inside out, but that's something I'm looking at. And then we're looking at 3M film in each of our buildings, all 5. Vestibule at Cisco, access and video intercom system at Cisco, exterior room identification signage. We've already talked about this with Chief. So we have all those quotes, we have all those numbers. Then we want to look to have additional swipe card access at PRM, surveillance to Stony Brook Field and other isolated areas around Stony Brook and our facilities, KHS High School Field, PRM in the backfield, and anywhere else we deem that we need. We'll work in conjunction with Chief, with our Class 3s, and with our staff to figure out what exactly it is we think we need to upgrade. Because we do have surveillance, but we don't have it at all in the backfields of Stony Brook, or at our fields down at the high school, or at PRM across the way. Now, it's something I did not add to this is also fencing from the board office behind Kiel and looking at that knoll which dives into the middle school. I did not add the fencing, but that's something that's there because we're open there. And then there's no sense in looking at purchasing or even researching an emergency alert system, a top-of-the-line emergency alert system, district-wide. until our infrastructure is complete, because it's kind of moving. But that's here for 24-25 and 25-26 because, yes.
I think, I remember the town saying they were changing to an alerting system, a new alert system. Do you remember that? The chief and,
We're hoping to roll it out in the next couple of months, and it was gonna be where the school could be combined with the town and
Well,
if we
then
want to
that's something
blast
we
it
can
out.
look at.
yeah, so
Work with
just,
them then,
just
sure.
something, I wrote it down, but
Okay.
it's something we can check, we can talk to, Jim Frieda about.
I'd be more than happy to do
Yeah.
that. Okay. All right.
But it might not work if you're not in infrastructure.
Well, that. Does anybody have any questions about security?
What's Alyssa's law?
That's the emergency buttons and notification system from inside the buildings. So we have to upgrade. Now that leads us to technology. And we've been talking about this. It's kind of like the elephant in the room. And it's time. We all can agree to that. So priority for next year in this budget and breaking out that money is PRM and KHS to start that process in the summer, because it's a 2-year process. It'll be the first year, it'll be the summer of 23, middle school, high school, summer of 24, Kiel, Stony Brook, Cisco. Once that's all in place, then we could really dive deep into instructional technology, security, enhancing programs, all those things. But we have to do this first. At the same time, Mr. Janicelli also received an additional quote for cell service that would only impact our buildings. But again, I think our first priority is here. But we have this. And then that leads down here. Once we have this, we go here with bandwidth. And then it's aligning purchasing with updated technology plan. We have a Chromebook refresh district-wide and continued district smart board replacement. Because a lot of times we purchase things, any school district, not just Kinnelon, and then it's, well, where does it go? How does it fall off? And of course, the height of that, you saw that in COVID. Everybody bought, everybody purchased, and then, okay, now how are you maintaining? Who's maintaining? How does it roll out? What is the accountability? How is staff utilizing? Where is the additional professional development? It goes on and on and on. We don't have an instructional technology plan. We will. That will be presented this coming May by Mrs. Trumbo. Anybody have any questions on infrastructure? So then that leads into 24-25. Yes, this is the priority. And then we're looking TV, video, graphic arts, and then the continued aligning of purchasing with tech plan. Classroom computer refresh to be determined at what school, Chromebook refresh, continue the district smart board, and purchase, once we have the infrastructure in Kiel, we can purchase 4 Chromebook cards for our young students, for our primary students. Right now, we don't have that capability. We do have a Chromebook card, but we don't have the infrastructure to support it. So that's why, rather than spend the money now, let's wait until we have the infrastructure. And it will all happen. For anybody that's out there in cyberspace and for everybody here, trust me, everything you see here will happen. It will be a long effort, but I promise you 5-6 years from now, you'll look back and you'll say, it happened. It'll be year over year. It will be a grind. We're going to have to budget. We're going to have to deal with things. We're going to have to deal with things during holidays, weekends, nights, bad weather, good weather, vacations, throw it all out the window. We have to do it. We owe our community more. And this is how you do it. You have to create the plan and then you have to go after it. And everybody has to be committed to the goals. But I promise you that. And then you continue into 25, 26. Server upgrades, security system, the cameras, and then that continued purchasing because technology is ever evolved. We all know that. So it's not a one-time thing. And then that leads into the local long-range facility plan. So we're going to present in June what that looks like. And all that really is at that point, we will know what we're going after July 1st. If it's decided that we're moving our kindergarten and that's approved in the budget, we already know we're developing that plan on relocation. That will also impact our ESY, where ESY and Kiel School will move over to Stony Brook just for next summer due to spacing. But then it's where are we going? And that goes back to the original slide of those priorities. Are we starting certain aspects in the auditorium in the high school, combined with the PRM Media Center, combined with the roofing, combined with the infrastructure? We could all agree that the technology needs to happen, it needs to happen now. All the security needs to happen now. How much we can get done depends on where we decide to allot the funds. But it has to happen. And then all that does in June is just list those dates and list what our expectations are, and then the current projections, and then 24 to 26. So it'll be a little bit of this again, but based on where we already know where we're going. And that's the plan. Pretty, self-explanatory. I said to our cross-country team today, TVA. You have a thought, that becomes a vision, you put it into action. It's just that simple. Now we just have to do it. And I'm confident with the people in the room that we can do it. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I don't know if anybody out there has a question or anything. Jay, anybody have anything? If they do, I'd be happy to answer it if I can. And I want to thank the admin team because they've unfortunately had to hear all this week after week after week until now. So thank you to the admin team who are here tonight in the crowd. No questions? All right. Anybody, any members of the board, any questions? Anybody, anything? Okay. All right, well, thank you. Thank you for listening. That's the plan. Now we're going to go get it. So thank you for coming out. All right.
All right, well, thanks, Steve. That was excellent.
You're welcome.
Okay, next on the agenda is petitions and hearings of citizens from agenda items. All right. All right, agenda items, finance and security, facilities and security, we do not need yet. And discuss personnel and negotiations.
So the Personnel Committee had agenda items number 1 and 2 that represent our recommendations, which voted upon as a group. Number 1 is the approval of 2 week replacements that you see there. Number 2 is the payment for 4 hours of instruction.
Motion? Yeah, I made a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Whatever.
Discussion. Hold on, please.
Mr. Eisenmaker,
Yes.
Mrs. Leonard,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mrs. Perrella,
Yes.
Mrs. Morgan,
Yes.
Mr. Patricelli,
Yes.
and Ms. Thompson.
Yes. That committee, have nothing policy, nothing committee of the whole. Nothing to discuss, unfinished business. Does anybody have any unfinished business? New business?
We do have to, I have to make a recommendation to accept it.
Oh, yeah, okay, you want to do new business?
So,
All right, so,
good, you want me to write it? Write it out for you? What do you want me to say?
you can just say it.
Okay, so upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the board approved HIB report incident number 3, PRM, as reported in executive session.
Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mrs. Perrella,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mrs. Leonard,
Yes.
Mr. Eisenmaker,
Yes.
Mrs. Morgan,
Yes.
Mr. Patricelli,
Yes.
and Ms. Thompson.
Yes. Correspondence?
None.
Petitions and hearings of citizens, non-agenda items? Okay, none. Board member comments? You guys want to make comments tonight?
I would like to make a comment. I just really want to thank Dave for putting together such a wonderful presentation and kind of coming up with such a fantastic plan. I know a lot of us didn't have questions tonight, and I think that that's a great reflection of how we've all been included in this process up till now. Like, there were no surprises tonight. We've known about this for a long time. I know you've met with the administrative team a lot about this. I know you've met with us a lot about this. There was a lot of time and effort that really went into this report, and I'm really excited about Kinnelon's future. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity. And again, thank you to the team because they dealt with it with me. So those are long hours and a lot of work, a lot of input, so.
I'd like to just definitely echo Mrs. Perella. Thank you for the team that's also here. And to you as well, Dave, for just the constant communication and the effort that went in. I'm very excited about the plan as well. Back to you.
No, I mean, same thing. Thank you to the administrators. I know it's, we hear mostly from Dave, but I know you guys are kind of behind the scenes. They're doing a lot of the work that gets it to this point. So, and you're quiet in this meeting. I know you don't really have a lot to say, but we definitely appreciated the hard work that goes in when we see it with, with the kids on a regular basis. So it's much appreciated.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.